This is what we're going to work on building, because unlike your IQ, your EQ can increase. And we have episodes on pi, emotional intelligence. We have an assessment on our website, a free emotional intelligence assessment. Because the more I interact with people, the more I live life, the more we work with couples, I realize that that's something that people don't really pay attention to. Everyone says be kind, but how do you do that?
Hmm.
And I was just talking to a little about today. I said, well, when we have empathy, it being kind just comes natural.
So, for those who may not be familiar with empathy, why don't you share with them? Just give an example, a brief definition of how you see empathy. What that is empathy?
Sympathy is, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry you feel that
I'm
way.
sorry you feel that way. Here's a dollar. Sympathy is I step
Empathy.
empathy. That's sympathy. So empathy is I'm so sorry.
them.
Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. What can I do to help you? How can I serve you? How can I? And you even begin to feel what they feel. So I think of empathy as your pain in my heart. So I actually feel it. And empathy requires that you stop and slow down and you think about this from the other person's perspective. Where sympathy, you can be in emotion. Empathy requires that you stop and step with.
I would
sit
even
with them.
say that part is the connection. You actually feel something for what that
Mhm.
person may be going through.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about. So if you want to answer that question, I see somebody answer this. I think it could be a mixture of both. It can be.
Yeah, I do
Yep,
too.
absolutely.
I do too.
Absolutely.
I do too. But I think about it because I know for us, I mean, I'm black, and I know that we can be a little bit hard. So basically, I'm going to ask you a question, and it even talks about making sure that you, if even if you disagree, you do it in a way where it's respectful of the other person to do that.
So let's ask the question.
Okay, so
And you can share these questions with your significant other, somebody you're dating with or married, or if you're watching, even though this is a singles focus right now tonight. So this is, go ahead.
okay, so it says, listen, what can I do to help you see, hear, feel, and know that I am listening?
Okay, read it. Was you to actually stop, you put your phone down and you actually acknowledge what I was saying.
Mhm.
You showed me empathy about the situation, how I felt. You said, okay, I will work on that. And she didn't give me any other follow up with that. It wasn't a, well, this is why, or it wasn't an explanation. She just
Yeah.
acknowledged it, accepted it, and said, okay.
Yeah.
So now, same question to you.
Okay. And when do you feel? It says, and a time when you felt unheard.
Prior to that, prior to that, before you didn't put the phone down,
Let me tell y'all what
when-
had happened.
what had happened was,
Well, we were having a conversation, and I will have I do that,
wait, what'd you say?
but
That's what it looks like, y'all.
but I also will go into like 5 different lanes. I'm like changing lanes. I'm like changing lanes, changing. And Gil was like,
You need to put your turn signal on when you change topics and change lanes because I can't keep up.
and so I said, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna work on that. I'm changing lanes. I need to physically say because I realized that we hey, he's a male, I'm a female, we're just different. So so when was the time that I felt heard?
One more time.
Is an alpha female,
You're talking about describing, okay.
when you think about the definition of what that is that something that is by design?
That's how you are.
That's
as
how
a person.
that God wired you to be an alpha female, or is that a result of a woman who has any low emotional IQ and low empathy?
If you want me to answer it,
No, let's just leave that.
Just let
That's
that
going to be rhetorical. That's
So-
going to be the question.
so-
And each week I'm going to ask one like that.
so I would say put that in the chat. If you're watching this later, by all means respond because we want to hear what you guys have to say because that may lead into another segment or another conversation we have on these Thursday Night Lives. But let's
I
go.
said that because.
And I love what Miss T just said here. I'm an alpha
Hey, Miss
female,
T.
and for me, it's how God designed me. As I have been told by my mom that I have always been strong-minded, but I also have empathy.
Yes.
That is like Man.
It's a superpower.
Oh man.
I think that when you, because I have been, I never saw myself that way, but I guess that is who I am. But I have always been strong-minded and driven, and but when I developed empathy, when I learned, it was
it's like a superpower.
It was like, oh my gosh.
Right.
So you got this big motor and you got a steering wheel you can control it.
Right.
I think the empathy helps.